My in-laws came to stay for a week. On day 2, my mother-in-law installed an app on our smart fridge. It sent her updates about what we were eating. When I called her out, she said, "I just like knowing you're getting enough protein." It's a love language. My in-laws arrived on a sunny Sunday afternoon. They had driven up from Portland to spend a week with us. My husband, Mark, was thrilled. I, on the other hand, was cautiously optimistic. We had recently upgraded our kitchen, the centerpiece being a sleek Samsung Family Hub smart refrigerator. It had all the bells and whistles, touch screen, internal cameras, and the ability to connect to our smartphones via the SmartThings app. Dinner that night was pleasant. My mother-in-law, Barbara, complimented the new appliances, especially the fridge. She seemed genuinely interested in its features. The next morning, I noticed something odd. I received a notification on my phone from the SmartThings app indicating that a new user had been added. Confused, I checked the app and saw that Barbara had connected her phone to our fridge. I confronted her about it. "Barbara, did you connect your phone to our fridge?" She smiled. "Yes, dear. I just like knowing you're getting enough protein." It's a love language. I was stunned. She had essentially installed a surveillance system on our refrigerator. Every time we opened it, she would get a notification. She could see what we were eating, when, and how often. I discussed the issue with Mark. He tried to downplay it, suggesting that Barbara was just being caring. I wasn't convinced. That evening, I received a text from Barbara. "Noticed you haven't had any vegetables today. Remember, balance is key." I was livid. This was beyond caring. It was invasive. I decided to take matters into my own hands. I researched the SmartThings app and found that I could remove users. I revoked Barbara's access. The next morning, she confronted me. "Why can't I access the fridge anymore?" I replied, "Because it's our fridge and we value our privacy." She was offended, claiming that I was ungrateful for her concern. I decided to teach Barbara a lesson. I created a fake profile on the SmartThings app and named it Nutritionist. I then sent her messages from this profile, suggesting that her diet was unbalanced and that she needed to incorporate more fiber. She was confused and asked Mark about it. He played along, pretending that the fridge had an AI nutritionist feature. Barbara became obsessed with pleasing the nutritionist, adjusting her meals accordingly. Barbara eventually realized that the nutritionist was fake. She confronted me, and I admitted to the ruse. She was furious, accusing me of deceit. I countered by highlighting her initial invasion of our privacy. The confrontation ended with Barbara deciding to cut her visit short. Barbara and my father-in-law left early in the morning. Mark was disappointed, but I felt a sense of relief. We restored our fridge settings and ensured no unauthorized users were connected. After they left, the house felt quieter than usual. Not peaceful quiet, tense quiet. Mark barely spoke. When he did, it was short, clipped. We were both pretending everything was fine, but that wasn't true. He was upset that I'd tricked his mom. I was upset that he didn't defend me. That night, while I was putting the kids to bed, I heard the fridge beep. I walked into the kitchen and saw the screen flashing. New user request. Barbara's iPhone. She was trying to connect again. I denied the request and turned off remote access entirely. Then I unplugged the fridge. I didn't care if we had to use a sticky note and pen to keep track of groceries. Enough was enough. The next day, I caught a silver sedan slowly rolling past our house. It was her car. I saw Barbara in the passenger seat, leaning toward the window. I watched from behind the curtains. Her eyes were locked on the kitchen window. Was she checking to see if the fridge was still online? This woman was obsessed. Mark came home with a guilty look. He said his parents invited us to dinner at our house. Apparently, they were bringing everything and cooking for us. I didn't want them back in my kitchen, but Mark begged me to let it go. "Just one dinner," he said. They showed up at 4 p.m. Barbara came in holding a bag of groceries and a Tupperware container. "Homemade stew," she said. I brought it so you don't have to worry about dinner tomorrow either. I thanked her stiffly. She started putting things in the fridge without asking. That's when I noticed it. Tucked inside the grocery bag was a small, black device. It looked like a USB stick with a square head. It wasn't hers. It was mine. I'd seen that same smart sensor online. It was an external food monitor. One you could hide in a pantry or fridge. It connected to Wi-Fi and could send data to a paired phone. She had brought a second way to spy. I didn't say a word. I let her finish cooking, acting like everything was normal. That night, I removed the device while everyone was asleep. I switched it with an old flash drive we didn't use anymore and wrapped it in the same bag. The next morning, I gave it back. "Hey, you forgot this in the kitchen drawer," I said. She looked surprised but took it. Smiled. She had no idea I'd found it. Around lunch, my phone buzzed. A new message in the family group chat. Barbara had sent a photo of the kids eating cereal with the caption, "Hope they're getting more than just sugar today." What the hell? That photo wasn't taken by anyone in the house. Then I realized something even worse. There was another camera. I tore through the kitchen, checking behind boxes, shelves, everything. Nothing. Until I opened the cabinet above the fridge. Taped to the underside of the shelf, a tiny pinhole camera. Battery-powered. Wi-Fi enabled. That woman had planted a camera in my kitchen. I called a friend who worked at a law office. She wasn't a lawyer herself, but she knew enough to freak me out. If you have evidence that she planted a camera without your knowledge, you need to report that. That's illegal surveillance. She even offered to help me write a statement and file a police report. I told Mark that evening. I showed him everything, screenshots, messages, the camera. He went pale. That night, we had our biggest fight ever. I gave him an ultimatum. We report this, or I will. You choose. But your mom doesn't get to violate our home like this. I'm not letting this go. Mark just sat there, staring at the fridge like it had all the answers. Barbara showed up the next morning, uninvited. She walked in like nothing happened. No apology, no shame. She started taking out fresh groceries again. That's when I snapped. I told her everything. The camera, the data, the lawyer, the police report. I said she had crossed every line, and she wasn't welcome in our home again until she respected us and our privacy. She laughed. I just care. You're acting like I'm the enemy. I looked her dead in the eye and said, "You don't get to define what caring looks like in someone else's home." Later that night, Mark came into the bedroom looking shaken. He sat at the edge of the bed and stared at his hands. "There's something I didn't tell you," he finally said. "Great. Here we go." He told me Barbara had never trusted me. Not from the beginning. She thought I controlled him. She'd once asked him, seriously, if he was being manipulated. "And the fridge thing?" I asked. Mark swallowed. She said if she could track what we were eating, she could see through the cracks. She believed she'd catch me in something. Some kind of secret behavior. Like I was, what? Poisoning the family? I stared at him. "And you didn't think to warn me?" He looked away. I didn't say another word that night. The next morning, there was a knock on the door. 2 officers. 1 male, 1 female. "Are you the one who submitted a statement regarding unlawful surveillance?" I nodded, heart pounding. I hadn't gone through with the full police report yet, but my friend must have passed on the info when I asked for advice. They took the pinhole camera and asked me to identify the person who placed it. I hesitated. This was real now. No more games, no more mind tricks. I said her name. By 5 p.m., the calls started. First it was Barbara. No voicemail, just back-to-back missed calls. Then Mark's dad. Then his sister. Then Mark himself. Barbara had been questioned by the police. They didn't arrest her, but they made it clear that planting a camera in someone's private kitchen without consent was a major offense. The family was in uproar. I was overreacting. I had embarrassed her. I was trying to destroy the family. I muted the group chat. That evening, I got an email from a shared storage drive, one I didn't recognize. It had dozens of photos, screenshots of our fridge's contents, notes, timestamps, even a spreadsheet. Barbara had been logging everything for weeks, possibly longer. She had built a case file on our eating habits. In it were highlighted notes like, took out chicken, returned 15 minutes later, uncooked, no fruits between Monday through Wednesday, possible poor nutrition, ice cream at 11:48 p.m., emotional eating. It was like she thought she was starring in her own detective show. And I was the suspect. I was still staring at the photos when my phone rang. Mark's sister, Danielle. She'd always been quieter, usually neutral. But tonight, she wasn't. I saw the photos, she said. They're disturbing. I don't think you're overreacting. She told me Barbara had always been this way, obsessed with control. She did similar things when Danielle got married, reading her mail, tracking her menstrual cycle with a shared calendar, by accident. She's sick and everyone's scared of her, Danielle said. You're the only one who fought back. For the first time in weeks, I didn't feel insane. Then came the final twist. Danielle said something that made my stomach drop. You know that fridge? The model you guys have? She bought the same one 3 months ago. Wait, what? She's been experimenting with it, figuring out how it works, how to get into it remotely. I saw her notes. She didn't stumble into this. She planned it. Barbara had practiced on her own smart fridge first. This wasn't about nutrition. It wasn't love. It wasn't a mistake. It was a deliberate operation. I printed everything. The spreadsheet, the camera logs, the screenshots, her creepy notes. Then I wrote a letter, calm, clear, factual. I addressed it to Barbara, but I CC'd the entire family. I included copies of everything and dropped it off at their house in Portland. Didn't say a word. No threats. No anger. Just the truth. It was quiet for 24 hours. Then everything blew up. Danielle called again. You need to see this, she said. Barbara had gone off in their family group thread, pages and pages of rambling messages, talking about how she had no choice, how I wasn't feeding her grandchildren properly, and how her system was working. She admitted everything, and not just the fridge. Apparently, she had done similar things to other family members in the past, tracking sleep habits, secretly accessing baby monitors, checking trash for signs of trouble. Some of them defended her. Most didn't. Mark read the thread in silence. Then he stood up, walked out, and drove to Portland. Mark went down there alone. He told me later he sat across from her at her kitchen table and said just one thing, you need help. She screamed at him through a coffee mug, told him I'd poisoned him against her, said I'd brainwashed the kids. He left without another word. Mark came home, grabbed a box, and pulled out an old lockbox of letters. Love notes his mom had written to him as a kid. Poems, birthday cards. He burned them. Then he blocked her number. We blocked her on everything. The kids don't even ask about her anymore. And just like that, she was out. I thought it was over. But life's funny like that. Mark was cleaning the office when he found something. A flash drive. The real one. The one I was supposed to have returned to Barbara. Apparently, I had given her the wrong drive that day. Not a blank one. Not the decoy. It had personal files on it. Private stuff, my journal entries, our finances, even medical info. I had grabbed the wrong stick in my rush to fool her. Which meant she had seen everything. A letter came in the mail. No return address. No signature. Inside was a single printed page with one line, I'm not the only one who watches. That night, I noticed the porch light was unscrewed. And the fridge? It beeped. It wasn't even plugged in. I didn't go to the police. I didn't press charges. I didn't scream or make threats. I did one thing. I uploaded Barbara's fridge files, the photos, the charts, the creepy breakdowns of our eating habits to a burner Reddit account. Then I sent the link anonymously to her church, her community center, her book club, and every single member of her neighborhood Facebook group. They saw who she really was. She was kicked out of her gardening co-op. Her church banned her from volunteer work. People started whispering. Barbara, the quiet, concerned mother-in-law, became Barbara the spy grandma. She went silent, deleted all social media, retired from her little community roles. Mark never spoke to her again. I still don't know if she's watching, but if she is, she can watch me win.